Hey everybody, and welcome back. So heads up disclaimer before I even start the video. If you do not want to hear spoilers about Dying Light 1 or Dying Light 2 or the DLC for Dying Light 1, then I would turn off now because I will be going heavily into spoilers. That said, for everybody here, still here, yes, I do have concerns about the beast, and I'll very quickly explain without trying to take up too much time. So as you can see, I'm currently on Dying Light 1. And after 10 years, this game still looks absolutely phenomenal, like amazing. And I still can't wrap my head around it. I'm not on PC, I'm on PlayStation 5 Pro. I do have a PC, but as I've said in previous videos, that's for work. So when I game, and I game with my wife, we game on PlayStation. That said, so yes, I started playing this game back in 2016. I've been playing games since like the 80s. But this is the best zombie game I've ever played. It had everything. Good story, great graphics, especially for the day. But looking back at it now, jumping on it today, it's still got great graphics. It's got better graphics than some of the games that come out like last week. It's awesome looking, especially when it starts getting nighttime. But yeah, as I said, it had everything. So for Carl Crane, a GRE trained operative, goes into Iran looking for the vaccine for the virus, for the GRE. He ends up getting bitten, as we all know, and then he sides. What? And then he ends up siding with the people of the tower. Right, so every single mission you do, you're not doing it to find your sister like Aiden does. You are, like, for example, Ghazi, right? You help Ghazi, he wants chocolates in a video, so you can get answers in off him for the people of the tower. Then you've got the twins, you're trying to help them to help get their boss out. And in doing so, you do several quests for them, but they reward you with different things along the way, right? So that, like that card that helps you to get in the chest, which get you better weapons and more ammo, that sort of thing. But you end up bonding with a lot of the people in the tower. You meet Spike and you help Spike along the way, who does return in number 2, even though the devs lied about that. But the narrative of this game was more your turning from just being a straight agent into somebody who cares about people and wants to help people. And Carl Crane does that again in the following when he puts his life on the line to go find a vaccine, right? Because he hears there are people in the countryside not using Antizin, and Antizin is running out. So Crane puts his life on the line for the people of the tower once again. But that being said, when we get into the territory of Dying Light 2, Aiden's story is so crap. Every single mission is about Mia. Have you seen Mia? No. He does a bunch of quests for absolutely everybody, and all his goal is to get information on Mia. And I don't really want to talk about Dying Light 2. I actually hate it that much. But at the end of the game, basically, you find out that Mia's not even his sister, right? And what does Aiden do? He ups and leaves. That's it. Simple as that. Like, he's done. And what really bothered me about Aiden's stories with Carl Crane, if you compare the two, Crane gets stronger, right, on his skill tree as you fight, shoot, climb. You start off like Aiden, weak, but over time you do get stronger. Aiden doesn't. Aiden meets Hakan and he can't even climb a simple billboard until he gets his inhaler, right? So to me, Aiden was always just a little smackhead. He just needs his drugs to be strong. He's not like Crane, who done it through earning it through the fighting and the climbing. But then there was the second thing with Aiden that I didn't like, was his story, right? So, like I said, if you can imagine doing 30 missions with Crane, every mission being different, but it's all for the same goal of helping the survivors. Where with Aiden, every mission you do is for him and him alone because he just wants to find Mia. That's it. He doesn't help people just because he wants to or because they need help. And then we got to the gameplay. In this game, if you hit something, you take its arms off, you take its legs off. One hit. In Dying Light 2, if you hit something, it'll look at you like you've hit it with a fluffy pillow. And I never got that. Shut up, dude, talking. again, you look at the sales figures. This game's sold 20 million sales, and you've only got to look at it to see why. Dying Light 2 sold 5 million. And I know there's a big difference in years, you know, this game being 10 years old. But this game in 10 years will not sell 20 million. Dying Light 2 in 10 years will not sell 20 million copies. It just won't. So then that all leads up to the fact of why I'm worried about the Beast, right? So the developers have actually stated that the Beast is smaller than the following. And they've actually stated, if you watch all their interviews that they've done, that it's roughly, give or take, about the size of Old Villador. Now, we all know Old Villador is not big at all. And then if you look at the fact that people are going on about the car and why isn't there much parkour in Dying Light in the trailers, right, in the Beast? And I think the reason for that is because it is so small. I'm going to take a guess that there's probably only 2 sort of hub areas. And the driving areas is mainly going to be in... It's not going to be like the following, because the following was massive. I think the driving's going to be in city areas like this, right? Where it's so densely packed, you need the car to get through certain areas. Otherwise, you're going to spend 2 hours fighting your way through a couple of streets. And that's one thing I do think, that Dying Light the Beast will be massively heavily populated with zombies. But that will be to try and slow you down through rushing across the map. Like this, let me give you an example. Let's just say if I want to run across here, right? I can use my grappling hook to just go building to building as much as I want, right? Now, if you can do this in Old Villador, even though they changed the grappling hook to an inferior version, the point being you'll be across Villador in 60 seconds, and they don't want that. So you're probably going to get 35% of the Beast map will be the forest. Then you're going to get a certain lot of the map that's going to be the military installation belonging to the Baron. Then you're going to get a hub area. Your main area that you're protecting people, like we had the tower in this game. And then in Dying Light 2, we had the couple of main areas there. So my concern, again, is the fact that the Beast is not anywhere near the size we think it is for the price that it is. So the deluxe version is coming in at what, 80 quid? I mean, that's more than the base game cost, right? But then that leads on to my massivest concern. 2 massivest concerns. That's not a word. It's a word now. Biggest concerns. There we go. English. Love it. Number 1, if you go back and watch any of the trailers, right, that have released for the Beast, take a really close look at the zombies and tell me they don't look cartoony. Like completely out of sync with anything else in the game. Now, I know they are trailers and things are subject to change. I understand that. But nothing else in the game looks cartoony in the trailers. Well, he's getting his moment. Nothing else in the trailers looks cartoony except for the zombies. As I said, go back and watch it for yourself. It's really weird. Are you still following? And then I would say my final concern with the Beast, it's not just the cartoony graphics on the zombies. It's not just the size of the map for the price we're paying, which, as I've said, is more expensive than the actual... than either of the first 2 games. It's the fact that the combat looks exactly the same as Dying Light 2, right? And I'll finish it off by saying this. Let's go down to the streets. In this game, if you hit a zombie, 1 hit, he's dead, right? Hit a leg, the leg's coming off. If you can manage to hit an arm without chopping them in half, you'll take their arms off. You see what I'm saying? The impact is impactful. It actually feels like you're hitting something, right? And no, you don't start off like this, obviously. You do start off weak, but as I explained earlier, Crane gets stronger as he progresses through the game. Where Aiden gets stronger when he just slaps himself up with an inhaler. But that said, this didn't happen in Dying Light 2. In Dying Light 2, it feels like you're hitting people with fluffy pillows. And the Beast looks like you're hitting people with fluffy pillows. So they've took the same system and the same mechanics that Aiden's got and put them in the Beast. And I know a lot of people are going to jump on the comments and say, well, it is DLC. No, not really. They've had over 3.5 years to work on this game. They themselves said it became too big to be a DLC, so they wanted to make it its own thing. So that said, why take the fighting mechanics of Aiden, who sucks, and put them as Kyle Crane's fighting moves? Even his fighting stance when he's standing like this, you see how his blade's up, right? Well, when you're fighting as in the new one, you're fighting and your hands like to the side, if that makes sense. You'd have to watch the trailer to see what I mean. No, dude, stop it. Yeah, I am concerned about the Beast. I do think we're being oversold something just because they're using Roger Craig Smith again. I am excited for it, and I do have the deluxe edition bought, obviously, because I love Dying Light and going to try and support Techland. But that said, do I think in any way, shape, or form we're getting this? And the answer is no. And I'll give you one final thing to think about, right? This game that came out in 2016. Do you remember Haran? The slums, right? How crappy and run down it looked. And then you come to this area and it looks completely different, right? Well, when you're playing in Dying Light 2, the areas look near enough the same, except for the buildings are a little bit taller, right? Now, Dying Light the Beast is meant to be in Switzerland. It's not even in the same country as Dying Light 2. So why do the buildings look the same? They've had 3.5 years. They're a big enough team and made enough money to change the buildings, right? Now, to me, it's just going to look and feel and play as if we're playing as Aiden, but it's going to have Roger Craig Smith's voice. And that's how I feel about it. It's not going to have these beautiful graphics. I mean, like I said, guys, look at this. It's 10 years old. Dying Light 2 doesn't look anything like this. And I know I've took the display off, but the display is minimal on this. You get your level at the top left, you get your map at the top right, you get your weapon down at the bottom left. It's not filled with fluorescent markers. You don't get chase meters when you're getting chased by volatiles on this. I don't know, guys. I've got conflicting feelings, but I really, really, really think after the developers lying and saying that there was no returning characters in Dying Light 2, when clearly there was Spike, we've had the twins. The developers are known to tell a few porkies, and I'm a bit worried that they're overselling Dying Light the Beast. You know, I really wish this is what we got. This style of graphics, this style of fighting. But again, I don't think we're going to get it. I don't. But that's it, guys. I'll hope for the best. If anybody's got anything they want to add or say, please leave a comment below. Keep it civil as well, people. We're all entitled to our own opinions and still be able to speak like adults and keep it on a friendly level. That said, I hope you have a great day or evening, wherever you were watching from, and I will catch you in the next video. Until then, ta-ta.